Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it rain now. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it rain now.
So, back again, I see. You just couldn't get enough, could you?
No, no, I couldn't. Oh, I missed you.
I'm so
hate
glad
being
you're
sick.
feeling better, Lil.
Yeah, like I rarely get sick like that, but I was just like I couldn't talk for like nearly 2 days. I could finally talk a little bit last night, so I was like, okay, I'll see if I can do it tomorrow, and I can. So, hi.
Hooray. It's everybody's been getting sick in some form or fashion. You know, so many of our friends in the Java and Jugs chat group, they're sick in various ways. I've got whatever the fuck is going on with my mouth. I'm pretty sure it's acting like a tooth infection in a place I don't have teeth. Whatever. I just work here. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're doing pseudoscience today. It's actually a part 2, but I try to do these all as standalones. But we do try to build on stuff we've done before, because it's knowledge is cumulative, right? That's the whole point of science, is we're building on knowledge and building on knowledge. And in our previous episode, we talked about what pseudoscience is, where it came from. Because of the postponements earlier in the month, we hadn't actually covered the scientific method and Popper's principle of falsifiability, which is kind of crucial to understanding pseudoscience. But we did cover that just the other day. So now we're ready for pseudoscience 2. We know what pseudoscience is. It's bullshit that sounds scientific-ish, but isn't actually falsifiable. It's woo-woo in a lab coat. So now we're going to discuss how pseudoscience spreads. But as always, and especially on days when we start slightly early, some notes first. Y'all who join us early, you get the bonus content. So hooray, lucky you. And speaking of lucky people, lucky us, because Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen, has sent us a super chat for $5. And Kelly says, sending love to my HT crew, Lil and Ember. Hopefully I can be on next week. Fuck yeah, we'll have us a party. I know it's been a minute since I had both of you at the same time.
I know. Oh, somebody's going to now.
Naturally. It's amusing though. Oh goodness. How was your new year? I haven't seen you since last year.
I know, right? It was not fun. I was in bed at like 9 o'clock New Year's Eve. So I was asleep. It was not fun, but I think that's my payback for having a fun birthday. Is I had a crappy New Year's Eve that didn't do anything. Like my family did New Year's Day lunch yesterday. Didn't do that either. I was just like, no, I'm sick. No, not doing that. So
sometimes naps are much more important. I should have been in bed. I was up working on things. Which, no spoilers, things I'm hoping to do some production on the thing today so I can stop revising the script over and over. I can just make the damn thing and then I can edit the damn thing and then I can send the damn thing out to, members and patrons because they get early access and then release the damn thing. So, if you want to see what the secret project is early, consider joining memberships or Patreon because they get early access.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very
Theo
good.
says, what's a HT crew? Hot topic. See? Over here. There it is. Yeah.
Theo.
It's anybody from Job and Jugs may pop in on this show, and I think everybody has at some point. It's often Lil and or Kelly, but we had Maya yesterday. We've had Ryan before. We've had Bree before. I'm pretty sure Jess has been by. AJ's been here a couple of times. It's an overlap. That's why on the website, betterthanember.com, there's a list of the cast of Job and Jugs / Hot Topic because we kind of do both shows. In theory.
Yeah, I try to do Job and Jugs most Monday mornings, but it's just that's one of the 2 days that I'm up really late working. So it's like, can I do this today? Usually it's me waking up at 3 a.m. working and then going and getting coffee. So
coffee. And in order to have coffee, you need to have good water. And to have good water, well, we can help with that. Hey folks, I've been working hard on my health, and so far I've lost over 140 pounds. A huge part of good health is hydration. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with Epic Water Filters. Check this out. Not only can you say goodbye to expensive bottled water, but these filters are made in the US, so no tariffs, and they're made to fit your life. From these lovely pitchers I can fill from, to sink units, to portable filters that fit in your reusable bottle. With Epic, I can refill from nature's water sources and not have to worry about bacteria and whatnot. But also, send back a used filter to be responsibly recycled and they'll send you a free replacement, saving you and the earth even more. Want to save a ton of money, be healthier, and build a better world? Head to epicwaterfilters.com and enter code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off. Don't settle for random water. Upgrade to Epic. And speaking of Epic, apparently Lil's going to show us her birthday suit or something.
My best friend sent this to me for my birthday.
Little higher. We can't quite see the bottom. There we go. It's a doggo meme.
Yes, it fits my dogs. perfectly. I was trying to eat yesterday, and I was saying
It fits the dogs too. It's a very adaptable shirt.
it would fit Kip, actually. Kip is huge. Oh my god, I can't get over how big she is. Um, I was eating in here because I didn't want to make my family sick, so I'm trying to kind of stay in my room and in my office and away from them. And of course, they know not to beg at the table, but they come right up here and they're all staring at me. They're staring at me for like it was like 45 minutes while I was eating, and then finally I'm just like, holy crap, girls. They would not leave me alone until I gave them a bite. So I'm just like, I have creative monsters here because I have the policy of if they don't beg, they can sit there and stare, but if they don't beg, I will give them a bite. Where's that? Pixie. That is so cute. Oh, I need one of those.
The puppies
I
are
do.
always watching.
Mm-hmm. I do not crochet, but I do knit. So
Isn't it? It's so weird. Like, so my oldest, they were telling me that they're working on like a sort of not a sweater, but like a thing that you put over like a sweat. It's not
yeah.
important. For a friend with their partner, right? So since they crochet and can't knit, and the other can knit but can't crochet, they're working together. So the knit one is making like the lace collar and trimmings and stuff, and then my oldest is like making the main body of the thing. And I'm like, why is it that people know how to either do one or the other? It's like skill trees in a video game, right? Like you put skill
Yeah.
points into the one and it locks out the other.
I know
You can pick
quite a few
either,
people.
but it's
Yeah,
only one.
I know quite a few people who can do both, but it tends to be if you start out with one and get really, really into one, it tends with me at least, it tends to do with my hand positions because when I've tried to crochet, I keep wanting to go back to the hand positions for knitting just because it's so intuitive. And that's not the way you do it. And it's just like it's so hard for me to learn to crochet. I have tried. I'm going to give it another go, but I've tried and I haven't been able to. But I can knit just about anything. So there is that. I have knitted myself shelves before.
You knitted shelves?
Yeah, I had like a wood frame, but I knitted the shelf part of it and I used it for a yarn shelf and hung it up on my wall. I'll have to find a picture of it. It was really cool.
I did not know that was possible. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, so yeah, I just knitted the like shelf part and put wood sticks through certain parts of it to give it the structure. And yeah, it held up. So it was just like it was a yarn wall of all my favorite yarn. So it kind of also looked like an art piece. Because I like showing my crafting supplies off when they're not all in boxes all over my office.
I mean, it's definitely more. My grandmother was always. It was the cookie tins, always the metal cookie tins with the. Some of them had the yarn. She'd get mad. She'd ask for a certain skein of yarn,
like this.
and exactly those very tins. And she'd be like,
There
you know,
are
she'd
sewing
ask for
supplies.
I don't know which one they're in. They're all the same color. I have to open each one to see what color. I'm like, Grandma, labels, for heaven's sake.
That it's like I tend to live in a state of organized chaos. Like everything is chaotic as hell in here, but I know where everything is, or at least I know where I put it last. And that's usually where it is. But somebody else walks in here and tries to get something, they're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about where it is. It's just but yes, those cookie tins, I've got and I don't have it next to me, but I've even got a little there's a thing for embroidery that's called a needle minder, and it's got a little magnet on it so you can put it on whatever you're working on and it will hold your needle. But in there, it's one of those little cookie tins too, so you can put like extra embroidery floss or whatever in there, and it's magnetic. But yeah, the apparently, and a friend of mine looked it up, but apparently the cookie tins, especially the blue cookie tins, are like a worldwide phenomenon. Everybody uses them for sewing kits.
because they're tins of a certain reliable size, and they're stackable, and they're other tins, but they're not all a uniform size, whereas those are, so you can just stack them.
Yeah, and they're nice. They're convenient. And they work great for sewing stuff. They're just the right size for like a non-professional sewer to have like their sewing stuff in when they need to mend something. So
yeah, my grandmother used to I asked her like why those tins and not other, because she did have a few other tins for random odds and ends and whatnot, but the sewing stuff was always in those. And she said because her needles were so long, they fit in those, but the square or rectangular ones, it wasn't right. The lids wouldn't close all the way. And she didn't like that. And that's fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. We way off in the tangents, but people come here for tangents.
Yeah.
Literally. I know I still have to make like pop-up images of the merch and whatnot, but for those of you who are new, first of all, thank you for joining us. Second of all, hit the subscribe button because we do this every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Third of all, we have merch, and one of our merches is a shirt that says I just come here for the tangents. So
I've lost my hoodie.
Tangents.
I've lost my hoodie. It was like right here yesterday, and it's not here anymore. Okay.
I blame Kip.
Yes. She has, I kid you not, here's the funniest thing about her. She likes sleeping on the Human-Shaped Kip's book as a pillow. She uses it as a pillow, and I'm not kidding. I've got a picture of her doing it before, and she likes sleeping underneath my hoodie.
I mean, hoodies are more comfy than not. Anyway. Oh, Kyle's got a promotion for us. Buy one print from his shop, get the other option free. So he currently only has the two options, but if you buy one, you get the other. So it's kind of like pick whichever one you want. And the other one's the free one.
Oh, those are pretty.
Aren't they? All right, let me hold on a second. I'll detour us because like I don't know, I'm a weirdo. But I really, as all the world knows, I really like Kyle's work, and this is what's currently available in the store. And these are big, no, bigger. There we go, bigger. This is the Rosette Nebula, and this is, I believe, like a zoom out view of the Horsehead Nebula, but I could be mistaken, because it's been a long time since I looked at these through my own telescopes. But I mean, look at just look at it's so pretty.
They're awesome.
So Kyle dropped the link for that. It's in the side chat if any y'all want to go visit, and
who the hell,
and also like bookmark the page because Kyle's likely to put more stuff there in the future. Likely.
Who the hell?
I mean,
Who the hell said space was boring? Space is gorgeous. I love space.
Kyle says that's NGC 7000, the North American Nebula, the Gulf of Mexico region, not Gulf of America. Oh goodness, amazing. All right, so we have a bunch of items. First of all, I want to start out with a funny thing. As I was doing the social medias this morning against my mental health care professionals' better judgment, I went to Facebook and I found something that it's just a stupid meme, but it was so funny because it was posted by Jesus H. Christ. And Jesus says, "Dear phobic Christian, I don't know how you ended up deciding that anyone else's body, gender identity, or sexual orientation were any of your business. They aren't." And like, that's just, it's just a statement, right? It's just true. But the fact it was posted by Jesus H. Christ in a group called Lies in Christianity just amuses the hell out of me. I'm easily amused, of course. The reason I was cruising social medias this morning is because I had a random thought. I just, like, as I sat up, I was like, chain of thought, when was the moon discovered? because there's all kinds of shit that didn't get discovered until like the later half of the most recent millennium because of the way we define discovered. And so I was just I just looked it up. The moon wasn't discovered until 1609. So what I said was one of the quirks of the ways modern humans define things is that stuff gets discovered by the first academic person to publish on that thing in a scholarly fashion. Consider Darwin getting credit for evolution despite farmers knowing that traits are heritable for 12,000 years because that's how agriculture works. So today I learned the moon wasn't discovered until 1609.
Huh.
Both Galileo and some English fellow published about the moon in a scholarly fashion. So that counts as when it was discovered academically. And this amuses me, not only because it's a silly thought, but because I have gotten so much mansplaining in the response comments. So this is a screenshot of my thread. Well, a screenshot of a reply to my thread. This particular person I wanted to share because it's funny. And they said, yeah, there's a term for discovering things that already exist so long before and has already been made aware to other people, particularly non-white folk. It's called Columbusing, which is valid as hell. But I mean, that one I wanted to show, but there's like so many people like, I couldn't, it won't show in my fucking camera. It's just people like, yeah, that's not how evolution works. Or if you're, oh, here's a good one. You're just a little confused. The moon wasn't discovered in 1609. Galileo just made the first observations through a telescope in 1609. That's the joke, buddy. That's the whole thing. That's why I said it's based on the way we discovered, you know, like, do you honestly think I'm legitimately proposing that no one was aware the moon existed until 1609? I'm picking on the way we describe things as being discovered. Fucking duh. But so I did reply to that one, that particular mansplainer. I said, you know, you're correct. From a certain point of view, the moon wasn't discovered until 1969 because that's when a man stuck a flag in it. So yeah. I had a couple other things, but they're less amusing. They're kind of not happy making. So I'm gonna skip over those and we will get to today's topic. Pseudoscience. How the fuck does it spread? So there's a lot. I was actually pre-scrolling through the article somewhat. This is an actual journal article from the Journal of Social and Political Psychology. It's called the explanation polarization model, how pseudoscience spreads through explanatory satisfaction and group polarization. And this is it's a model. It's not just an article about a causal function or whatever. It's like a model of how pseudoscience not only catches, but spreads like an actual mind virus. And it is interesting. So as with many of these, I have some general understanding of the topic, but we're going to be learning a lot of stuff together, which is one of the points of the show. You know, it's not just me talking about shit I know. We learn shit together. Hell yeah. So, the abstract begins by saying, this article presents an integrative model for the endorsement of pseudoscience, the explanation polarization model. It is based on a combination of perceived explanatory satisfaction and group polarization, offering a perspective different from the classical confusion-based conception, in which pseudoscientific beliefs would be accepted through a lack of distinction between science and science mimicry. That's what we explored last time, which is that pseudoscience happens because people who aren't educated enough to understand the distinction of falsifiability, they fall for sciencey sounding stuff that isn't actually falsifiable. It's just woo-woo ideas, but it sounds sciencey. That's a different thing. Pardon me for a moment. I'm having very dry throat. I have, and if you want to get wet, Oh no. We just did that. I was actually talking to Brentley about that last night. He messaged me to ask if I had like a pop-up thing he could use to make jokes with. And I send him the thing, of course. And I'm like, I originally took this partnership thing in part because I do believe in their product, but in part because I wanted to make an if you want to get wet jokes. And I thought they would come up a lot more often than they actually do. Maybe it's because I'm not covering fundies. I'm doing, science and philosophy and shit.
Maybe.
Like with fundy, I don't know. Well, if we did fundies, we would get Noah's Ark would come up like at least once a week,
Oh yeah.
So, c'est la vie. Anyway, I do digress. First, I discuss, and now it's first person because there's a single author. But whatever. First, I discuss the confusion-based account in light of current evidence, pointing out some of its explanatory shortcomings. So first, we're going to look at like why the current models suck at describing how pseudoscience spreads. Then we'll develop the explanation polarization model, showing its explanatory power in connection with recent research outcomes in cognitive and social psychology. From then it would be our job to make predictions and then test them and so on and so forth. This is the hypothesis stage of the model, but it's fascinating. It's a pretty long article. We are almost definitely not covering all of it. So I may jump ahead here and there because there's certain things I want to get to at certain points, but we'll just go at it for now. Giggity, giggity. Discussion of pseudoscience often offer a multidisciplinary analysis of the long history of popular beliefs that challenge the scientific mainstream, highlighting their harmful implications and enduring popularity. I'm going to pause there for a second and go back to the thing I skipped because I'm getting a little worked up over the thing, and I want to share with y'all. So last night, a person there's a few different ways to put this. I posted a thing on the social medias. This is the thing. It's a public statement. It's completely neutral. And it says, fun legal fact of the day, 18 USC subsection 241 states that organizing for the purpose of harassment, intimidation, and threatening is a kind of criminal conspiracy. Gang stalking is the legal term. 18 USC subsection 2261 states that it is a federal felony to use the internet to stalk someone causing fear of serious bodily injury or death or substantial emotional distress. It's worth noting that these laws were created as part of the Violence Against Women Act because that's what this kind of behavior is: violence. So, if you coincidentally happen to know someone committing multiple federal offenses on a publicly viewable live stream tonight, maybe politely suggest they not do that. Or don't, as you like. I named no one. I did not speak specifically of what was happening. And so as a consequence, people who knew. Some people had a hint that it was in reference to something not at all random that was in fact happening right at that moment as I was posting that. And one friend asked, and the reason I bring this up is not to promote my online postery and whatnot. It's because when they asked, I had to summarize. And when I summarized, I look at what I'd summarized and I was like, it's not wrong. And so I want to share that with you. So the friend says, what was your post regarding when the streaming and the stalking? And I said, there's a lot of backstory. Because there is. This is the reason we had to postpone shows last month. Because of the stalking and the threats and the harassment and so forth. Is that sort of thing. So I said, there's a lot of backstory. In extreme summary, there's a guy who's been doing streams attacking mostly women for a few weeks. A few of us have been getting death threats from his viewers. Yesterday, he did another stream calling for increased violence. Where's the lie? That is an extreme summary. I'm leaving out all the backstory. I'm leaving out all his justification for what he's doing. But when you boil it down, this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's calling for increased violence against a group of people who are mostly women, mostly survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the lie? So, yeah, like I said, it's less happy making, but not talking about it was starting to piss me off. I'm like, no. I'm not going to get into the drama of the situation.
Yeah.
And I realize it's probably too late for that, but I haven't named names. I haven't described the background. It's just important that we beware that sometimes people are crossing some lines and they don't seem to notice they're doing it. There's quite a bit to this. I randomly on New Year's Eve, I was watching Doctor Who stuff, as one does. Well, I had it on in the background while I was working on things, as one does. And one episode that happened to come on, it was a fan show, like a video essay about a Doctor Who episode. And they were talking about this one episode where there's an occupied people commit a terrorist act to try to drive out the occupiers and free Palestine. I mean, free their planet, whatever the case may be. And the doctor captures one of the terrorists and tortures them. And they're trying to break down like what the fuck the showrunners are thinking, because the way it's presented is that the terrorist is committing, they're both committing violence, right? Like the terrorist is doing terroristic violence, but the doctor is torturing a captive, even though that person happens to be a terrorist. And so the terrorist's violence is presented as savage violence. It's lawless. It's outside the authority, and it needs to be crushed. Whereas the doctor's violence, that's state violence. That's civilizing violence.
Mm-hmm.
It's propelling the authority. And so it's regrettable, but no big deal, actually. And so we see the same kind of thing, where one kind of violence that fits with whatever the authority deems to be correct gets excused, and the other kind of violence, the people get crushed. Even though they're both unacceptable from a moral standpoint, there's that hypocritical dismissal of what your team is doing. That's why we set up laws the way we do, because things that are wrong need to be wrong no matter who is doing them, And this is what we see from this particular story is there's this, I'm trying to be neutral about it, even though I'm implicitly on one side, and it's fucking wild. But TLDR, this man, this person, this individual behind all the drama, behind the groups of sending hostile viewers for harassment and all this shit, he completely excuses him calling for violence, his followers' violence, his other people's violence, etc. It doesn't count, because from his point of view, it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
Justification, it's that no. If
Yeah.
it's wrong, it's wrong. So once again, to put it in perspective, strip away the backstory, strip away the justification, and just look at what he is doing. There's a guy who's been doing streams attacking mostly women for a few weeks. A few of us have been getting death threats from his viewers. Yesterday, he did another stream calling for increased violence. Set aside the justification. That's what he's been doing, and that's what he did.
Yep.
Just facts. Although I realize he's not a big fan of facts either, because one of the people who'd been on his team happened to state a fact in his general direction and got punted for it. So, and that's why it comes up on the Pseudoscience stream, because we're going to get to it later, but I want to give y'all a little bit of a sneak peek, if you will, right? There's this shit. What's it called? 1 second. I have a note for it. The backfire effect. When you confront a person who has emotionally bought into something that is factually incorrect and attached it to their identity, if you present a fact to them, it can often make them double down in their irrational, untrue belief because it's part of their identity and they believe it for emotional reasons. They will not only reject your fact, they will become more extreme in their beliefs. Because facts aren't the reason they believe the thing. It's a thing to be aware of, but it also has to do with pseudoscience. You can't always, in fact, rarely can you break someone out of a conspiracy theory, a pseudoscience position, using facts and evidence. Because facts and evidence are not why they think the thing. As the saying goes, you can't reason a person out of a position they didn't use reason to get into. So there's that. My goodness. I have to turn my heater down again because I'm starting to melt. I'm super, super grateful to the person who sent me the heater. It's been keeping me from freezing to death, and I fucking love it. But I have to turn it down because I'm melting. And so
too well.
it's great. I like being too hot over too cold, but I'm getting too hot, so quick break while we watch what happens when we let people who think violence against women is excusable just go off.
I have a problem with this stuff being normalized across the spectrum, and specifically, like, why push this on kids? Why introduce this to kids?
I am a depraved wretch. I am a great sinner. I'm a worm, completely undeserving of any love or any grace. I'm nothing.
You're incapable of being a good person. You're an evil person. You're a terrible person. At the core fabric of who you are. That's why we need laws. We need laws because we're bad people. All of us are bad people.
You can't spell Pride Month without demon. PRIDEMONTH.
If we don't know who the women are, because there are just people, then we won't be able to pull the women up to equality with men.
We have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for two reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, a huge problem to a sane world.
Transgenderism must be eradicated.
The LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat. We need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people.
I will use whatever gives me victory. I don't care about the truth, and I don't care about the law. I care about one thing, the control.
But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president.
And what happened is they rigged the election, and I became president, so that was a good thing.
I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
It was actually a tremendous blessing to these children for them to be killed and go to heaven and be with God.
We've been hoodwinked. We've been taken in by an ideology crafted by creeps and then pushed on children.
Stop letting people pressure you into thinking.
If they die, they die.
I want to be ignorant, honestly.
Being a Christian doesn't exclude us from experiencing spiritual dryness.
We're bad people. All of us are bad people.
Spiritual dryness. But there's a cure for spiritual dryness. No, I'm not going to get back into the water filters ad. We did that already. Instead, I'm going to highlight the other cure for spiritual dryness, and that is Jester, Lord of Shenaniganery, who sends us a super chat. It's true. When Jester's around, there's no spiritual dryness, right?
True. Yeah.
I am not, it's a scientifically demonstrable fact. So
come
Jester
up.
sends a super tip for $20. Thank you, Jester. And says, hold on. If I actually learn stuff that other people don't know, then I might accidentally end up not mansplaining because what I'm saying might actually end up being witty and interesting. What are you trying to do to me? I know we're so inconsiderate.
Very much so.
How horrible. How terrible. Damn it, Ember. That's what we do here, right? Damn it, Ember. Okay, now let's try to do the damn topic. All right, where the hell did I leave off? Harmful implications and enduring popularity. Right. Pseudoscience is usually defined as cogitations involving radical epistemic misconduct and science mimicry. Now, those are both important because while what we were talking about a moment ago involves radical epistemic misconduct, there isn't scientific mimicry, right? It's just misconduct. It's just crimes, but there's no scientific mimicry there. So it's not technically pseudoscience. But then, we've got references. References are great. We love to see the references. Scholars have held the position that the adoption of pseudoscientific beliefs is mostly due to widespread confusion between science and claims that mimic science. The author will refer to this position as the confusion-based conception. Though popular in this article, I will argue that the confusion-based account has limited explanatory power, as it does not fit the best current psychological evidence. In contrast, they will develop an alternative account of the endorsement of pseudoscience. Why do people endorse pseudoscience? And I looked away. The explanation polarization model, or EXPO for short, because you need both. It needs the we need an explanation. We can't have an I don't know, but also the polarization, the in-group, out-group business. You have to have both, or it won't mind viralize, This model aims at explaining the endorsement of pseudoscientific conceptions on the basis of a combination of their perceived explanatory appeal and their capacity to foster group polarization, thus being based on a large corpus of cognitive and social psychological evidence on explanatory satisfaction and intergroup dynamics. You need both. It incorporates several psychological phenomena elicited by pseudoscience, explaining the function of science mimicry in psychological terms. So it's a behavior thing. So of course it falls under psychology, but we're also kind of doing some meta-anthropology here. We're observing a phenomenon that does exist, and we're creating a model that explains it, but is falsifiable. So it's like science that could have been pseudoscience about pseudoscience. And so it's almost a pseudoception sort of thing. And that amuses me to no end. Are pseudoscientific beliefs confusion-based? Is there much confusion amongst the masses? The confusion-based conception of the endorsement of pseudoscience asserts that the appeal of pseudoscience is mostly explained by the existence of a rhetorical pathway aimed at exploiting superficial scientific literacy. Now, minor point here. Obviously, this is a very common model. Most people are familiar with this model. They're saying people believe pseudoscience because it exploits their low level of science literacy. And this seems to bear out in the common sense kind of way, because as scientific literacy, and let's be honest, literacy has fallen off a cliff in the United States, belief in pseudosciences has skyrocketed. So there seems to be a relationship. But is it a correlation, or is it a causation, or maybe a bit of both? Maybe there's something else that's behind all of it. Let's find out. Hence, paradoxically, pseudoscience would thrive in environments in which science is regarded. Let me back that up and try that again. Hence, paradoxically, pseudoscience would thrive in environments in which science is regarded as an epistemic authority. in that pseudoscientific doctrines would conceal lay cognition and cognitive biases in the trappings of science. Reference. Now, we do see that to some extent. This is why the young earth creationists like to bring on like a PhD in plant evolution to talk about how Noah's flood was geologically undeniable. You know, they do respect the trappings of science. They just abuse the hell out of it with nonsense. So that's why that works. That's why they do that, because it works. In this section, I will argue, the author, that the methodological shortcomings, a lack of specificity, and contradictions with experimental results argue against the accuracy of the specific predictions of the confusion-based conception. Some examples of this conception can be extracted from an influential multi-author book on the topic, Pigliucci and Boundary. Again, apologies with pronunciation. In which several prominent philosophers of pseudoscience emphasize an exploitation of epistemic authority of science when explaining the psychological function of science mimicry. That's right. Doggo's got opinions. So pseudoscience can cause so much trouble in part because the public does not appreciate the difference between real science and something that masquerades as science. Pseudoscience thrives because we have not fully come to grips yet with the cognitive, sociological, and epistemological roots of the phenomenon of pseudoscience. Pseudoscience piggybacks on the authority of science and has been endowed with in modern society. The question remains as to why it is so important for pseudosciences to seek that authority and why they often succeed in attaining it. Pseudoscientific beliefs are usually dressed up in scientific garb. This does not substantially alter how they interact with human cognitive systems. All that they may do is render pseudoscientific beliefs somewhat more attractive in the context of modern cultures that hold scientific knowledge in great regard, but have limited actual understanding of it. We see the scientist in his lab coat with his diplomas on the back wall behind him and we go, aha, this is a rational individual. I will listen to what this person has to say. I will take into consideration their words with greater weight, even if I'm predisposed to disbelief. This is what the trappings of science were originally for, to say this is a rational person who doesn't have a bias. When they report something to you, it's because it seems to be true, not because they want you to believe it, you know? And that's why those trappings got appropriated by people who do the opposite and want you to believe something and don't care whether it's true, you know? Pseudoscientists seek to be taken seriously for the same reason that scientists claim our attention, that the live broadcasting, that the propositions of a rigorous and rational science are more worthy of belief than the common run of opinion. Andrew says, Ember, degrees on the wall and or white coats. I can get my lab coat. Getting my degrees on the wall is going to be harder because this actually is a curtain. I know it looks like an infinite void, but it actually is a curtain. I mean, I suppose I could like use paper clips or something to hang, but then I'd have to do them. It's a whole thing, but I could get my lab coat. I could do that part. And then I could cover my shoulders and stop offending the Christians.
Oh no, you won't want to do that.
I know. Well, you know, it's Friday, so you know, I want to let's be honest. I want to be spicier every fucking day.
Oh yeah.
Part of what we do here is being provocative. It's a low-key chill kind of provocative, but like, here's some facts. Let's learn about things. People from a certain worldview find that offensive. And I want to offend those people. On purpose. Andrew says your shoulders are causing me to sin.
Yeah. Everybody watching. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Thank you, Bree. Oh. Don't make the obvious joke, Ember. We're not going to make a joke about pops. Nope, we're not doing that. We're getting back to the point.
Are you sure? This is a chance to.
Oh goodness. Let's see. Where the hell was I? All right. Some research outcomes on individual differences indicate that people have difficulties distinguishing between science and pseudoscience. More references, because it's an actual journal paper. There's some things that are going to seem to be restatements, but really it's like a recall of something said earlier so that we can expand it more. So it's like a trigger phrase to say, this is what we're going to talk about in this section, sort of deal. So, you know. Right. References. Nevertheless, the trappings of science do not explain these difficulties, as the same lack of discernment has also been found in relation to non-science mimicking paranormal beliefs, citations, and astrology, which is a borderline doctrine between pseudoscientific and paranormal rhetoric. Shit ton of citations. The negative association between well-oriented scientific literacy and pseudoscientific beliefs, as predicted by the confusion-based conception, is similarly not well supported. TLDR, while fake science may seem to increase acceptance of pseudoscience, that's not always the case. There is stuff that is definitely pseudoscience that doesn't even pretend to be science. It just is bullshit, and people still believe it. So why do they believe it? You know? So even though one study has found negative correlations between knowledge of scientific facts and pseudoscientific beliefs, again, the effect is not exclusive to pseudoscience, as it has been found also for non-mimicking paranormal beliefs. More references. Moreover, this association seems to be mediated by trust in science, which shows the same negative-positive correlation with paranormal beliefs and conspiracy theories. I would argue other conspiracy theories, because fundamentally all conspiracy theories are the same conspiracy theory. It's a very basic formula. It's pick a subject, whatever it is, and every authority, everyone who has something to say about it, all of them are lying. All of them are in on a cover-up for some reason. But you, the conspiracy detector, shall we say whistleblower, the conspiracy whistleblower, you know the secret truth. Everyone else is either fooled or in on it, but you know the secret truth. Every conspiracy theory, all of them. So yeah, anyway. I am not passive-aggressively referencing ongoing IRL events. It's completely coincidence that this talk about mind viruses and pseudoscience and lack of skepticism and what was it? Radical epistemic misconduct. It's pure coincidence that all of that is happening at the same time those kinds of things are happening elsewhere in the community. It is. I'm trying. For those of you who are not good with sarcasm, that was all the sarcasm, just to be clear. In a recent experimental study, researchers I did schedule this after the first pseudoscience stream, which was already scheduled, right? I scheduled all of December in one go because I wanted to do the Advent thing. And the nonsense happened, I think, December 9th, something like that, whatever the case may be. The pseudoscience episode was already on the schedule. And then the natural follow-up part 2 of the thing, why does pseudoscience spread? I scheduled that right after the first pseudoscience episode. So even though the nonsense was already happening, this episode would have happened whether the nonsense were happening or not. So it actually is coincidental that what we're learning today has a direct bearing on the nonsense going on elsewhere in the community.
But it lines up nicely.
It does, but yeah, it is actually coincidental. the fact that the facts are making what a certain person is doing look really, really bad, get mad at the facts, I suppose. My Unfinished Journey, hello, says, would flat earth fall under the BS that's not even pseudoscience label? I mean, it's clearly a conspiracy theory because it fits that model that everyone is lying to everyone else for some reason, but I know the special truth. So yeah, conspiracy theory, but is it pseudoscience or BS that's not even pseudoscience? It could kind of be both because there isn't really a coherent flat earth model. There are some people who try, well, that's fair. Dapper's model is legit, but there are a lot of people, most of the actual like flat earth personalities, they try to present it in a scientific-ish way, and it's not, because when they falsify their hypothesis over and over and over, they just disregard it. They come up with an excuse to not pay any attention to what they themselves showed. So what can you do? But not all flat earthers do that. Some flat earthers, they're just like, the Bible says, I don't care what the facts say. The Bible says, so I believe it, you know? So it can be pseudoscience, but it doesn't have to be. There are plenty of flat earthers who have no fucks to give about what science says. Although the modern movement did get started by a pseudoscience guy, but that's a whole other thing. Well, that we could do a whole show on Mr. Robotham and his work because it's hilarious. Anyway, in a recent experimental study, I'm trying to keep an eye on the time because at a certain point we're going to have to skip ahead to get to. There's two things I really want to get to, and I got to try to keep an eye out for them. In a recent experimental study, researchers concluded that courses that directly promoted a motivational state of distrust. I cannot talk today. I'm sorry, folks. My prosthetic has never fit correctly, and I currently have a swelling that is making it not fit aggressively. I am trying my best, but English is hard under the best of circumstances. I just wanted to explain to y'all why I'm tripping over words way more often in this particular episode. I think I'll give it another day to see how it goes, but I may need to figure out how to get my hands on some antibiotics because it's, as Andrew pointed out earlier, whether there's a tooth there or not, it's an abscess. You know, that's what that is. And if it goes down, if the immune system catches up and it heals, fine. But if not, I'm going to need to get my hands on some antibiotics. So,
yeah,
but
and
we'll
they
work on
are
that later.
unbelievably painful too. They
can be. It's an oof. Okay. Trying to continue on. I'll just restart the paragraph. In a recent experimental study, researchers concluded that courses that directly promoted a motivational state of distrust in pseudoscience produced a reduction of those beliefs, whereas general education classes on critical thinking and research methods did not. References. So, important point. If you tell people how to critically think, that doesn't actually make them immune to pseudoscience because it's not the critical thinking that gets them into it. It's pseudoscience, like conspiracy theories, bypasses your critical thinking capabilities entirely. That's how you get relatively intelligent people to fall for total bullshit, is you have to bypass their critical thinking. And it's not like they're deliberately constructed that way. It's an evolution thing. It's a natural selection thing, insofar as the ones that happen to meet the criteria are the ones that spread. They're the ones that get selected. The ones that don't get stopped by the critical thinking and never progress. So, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But when you teach people to specifically distrust pseudoscience, like, here's what pseudoscience is. Here's what pseudoscience is. Do not trust this. Here's why it is bad. here's how if you teach people about it specifically, now they're on the lookout for it, and they will be more resistant to that kind of bullshit. So just general critical thinking, it doesn't hurt to teach people critical thinking. It's a very good thing in most circumstances, but it's not going to stop the spread of pseudoscience. You have to teach about pseudoscience because it bypasses critical thinking. I know I've said that 3 times, but sometimes repetition is important. AJ is here saying love your top. Thank you, AJ. And I'm still not making the obvious joke because I already ran the water commercial.
I'm going to get you to do it at some point.
Nope. All right. Let's see. Additional experimental pre/post test studies also suggest that this mediated relationship, more references. I guess that's the end of that sentence. Okay. Accordingly, contrary to the idea of a backfire effect caused by misguided trust in science, low confidence in science, and disregard for the values of scientific inquiry constitute good predictors for the endorsement of pseudoscience. More references. And that brings us to what I was talking about earlier. This is one of the things I wanted to nail down. What is the backfire effect? Because we need to know this shit matters. So backfire effect in psychology, there are other things in other disciplines, like in engineering and such. In psychology, it's when presenting factual corrections to someone actually strengthens their belief in the original misinformation, making them cling more tightly to the wrong ideas. It's a cognitive bias related to confirmation bias, where people reject challenging evidence, often because it threatens their core beliefs. For example, if you're a person who runs around claiming to be a defender of women, who spends most of your time attacking women, that's going to create a cognitive dissonance. That's going to create a problem. So because it threatens your core belief that you're a defender of women, you just reject the evidence of the harm you're doing to women. So you can just keep pretending. You see how that works? And that's what's called a worldview backfire. I don't know why I'm highlighting shit. I don't have this on the screen. It's fine. Or it becomes a matter of familiarity, a familiarity backfire, which is that repeat the lie often enough, it becomes the truth, that kind of thing. When you hear a thing over and over and over, if you have nothing else to distinguish between the things, you'll be more inclined to believe the thing you've already heard. It's related to why people vote for candidates with name recognition, even if they don't know what the candidate actually stands for. It's the familiarity effect. The familiarity effect can turn into a backfire level clusterfuck when it connects to a worldview, right? It connects to a core belief and ideology sort of thing, right? So if you start to believe that, for example, Trump is putting America first, you hear it over and over, and you start to identify with it, that when a person comes at you saying, hey, the tariffs are killing the soybean industry and fucking over the whole economy, or grocery prices, or whatever, you bring them factual information showing that that statement is not true. If they've connected it to their identity, they will reject it. Oh, no matter how much information you bring them. So when you get that kind of backfire, they will generate counter arguments or feel threatened. And that can lead to doubling down because they feel threatened. So their dander's up. They get their backs against the wall. They want to fight you rather than admit they were mistaken. How fucking crazy. But that's why. It's because it's an emotional reaction. It's part of their identity. It's not a matter of factually being incorrect. It's a matter of cognitively having done wrong, a moral wrong. It's a whole different thing. It's wild. So what the studies show is that while this isn't uncommon, it's a thing that people do, but the level to which they do it depends on the degree to which they've attached the thing an emotional value and connected it to their identity. Like there are some Trump supporters who are just vaguely Trump flavored. They're like the cultural Christians of Trump supporters. On a general day-to-day level, they're not actually bad people. They're just politically misinformed, right? But they don't actually follow the program. You know, they're fine with trans people. They're fine with immigrants. They're fine with gay people, brown people, all the minorities. They're like, yeah, you're a person first. Why wouldn't you be? Never mind the fact that Trump says otherwise. They have their own ideas and they're not really invested in what Trump says, even though they identify as Trump supporters. And then you've got the diehard MAGA Kool-Aid drinkers who, whatever Trump says, they will erase their own understanding and absorb what he said. You know, they're constantly reprogramming themselves and everything in between, all the levels in between. And that's just a popular example of how this works. When you start getting into things like the shape of the planet, for a skeptic, that's no big deal, right? If we had evidence that shows that the planet's actually a fucking cube and NASA came out tomorrow, hey, you know what, guys, we were wrong. The planet's a cube. We'd be like, oh, neat. And we'd start updating our maps. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But for a flat earther to challenge the fact level, the state of the shape of the earth, challenges the core belief, because if the earth, to them, if the earth isn't flat, that means the Bible is not true. And if the Bible's not true, what is the purpose in life? Where does morality come from? I'm going to die and disappear and never exist anymore when like all the freakouts that everyone else dealt with in fucking childhood. And they put off by putting all the answers into the Bible. Once it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real, except you've invested all of your identity into Santa Claus being real. You know, it's a little hard to cope with.
Yeah.
And so they just don't. They just refuse to. So yeah, that's backfire. That's why backfire happens. That's why backfire works. What are your thoughts, Lil? I need to.
I've seen the backfire effect happen not only with me personally, or like not like with me personally, but like my family, but like across the spectrum with people on the internet and everything else. And it's just like, it's one of those things I've never understood how, if they are presented with evidence of something that is undeniable, how they can just turn their nose up and say, nope, Their whole defense is, that's their entire defense of it. And it's just, I've never been able to wrap my head around people like that. I don't get it.
When a person is very, 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 very wrong, I try to put myself in their shoes and try to understand where they're coming from, because nobody walks around saying, I want to be as wrong as possible. They believe they are correct, and I want to know why they think that. Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the crazy person and they're right, and the earth is actually flat. I want to know how they got there, partly so I can help them, but partly so I can know more true things and fewer false things, you know? Because I can't take it for granted that my view is the correct one. That's what it means to be a skeptic, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to understand them. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. For example, in the abortion debates, I understand why both sides feel what they feel, right? Like what we call the pro-choice side is like bodily autonomy, period, end of story.
Yeah.
You know, people have the right to control their own bodies and reproduction, period, end of story. Whereas the pro-life side, which some hypocrisy when it comes to being what does pro-life mean to you aside from controlling women's bodies? But never mind that. Ostensibly, they're doing a bad faith argument. They're saying the liberals, and I'm trying so hard not to straw man. I'm trying so hard because, believe it or not, I actually am on a personal level pro-life, right? Like I cannot justify an abortion for myself,
and that
but
is
I'm keenly aware that that is a me position, and I have no right to impose that view on anyone else, just like no one else has the right to impose their view on me. And scaling that up, it is a conservative value that the government does not have the right to impose any of our views on anyone. The government cannot be used to say whether this is right or wrong, what you can do and what you cannot do with your own fucking body. So it's hard for me, even though I myself am technically pro-life, to not strawman the conservative position, but trying as hard as I can to not strawman. There's this idea, it's a bad faith red herring. It's a distraction. It's a smokescreen to say it's about the life of the baby when it's not. It's about controlling the women. They don't give a fuck about the babies, but they say it's about the life of the babies, even though the actual goal is to control women. And they do it with rhetoric designed to create that kind of emotional connection that's invulnerable to critical thinking. They say, oh, all the dead babies and the liberals just want to bathe in the blood of the unborn and all this shit. It's fucking wild, but it creates this emotional reaction so that when a person's worldview gets challenged, whichever side they're on, they have an emotional response rather than a rational response. And I get that, because as keen observers may have noted, when I outed myself as being pro-life, my entire bearing changed. I was no longer presenting a rational case. I was coming from an emotional defensive position because I was expecting resistance based on worldview distinctions. And I felt the need to explain myself and why I believe what I believe, and then also add those caveats that at a higher priority level, I understand that nobody should be imposing their beliefs on me, and I shouldn't be imposing my beliefs on anyone else. You see? That's what that is. That's that kind of defensiveness. So yeah.
And my whole thing, and that's actually the argument that I use to get pretty much my whole family on board with pretty much the pro-choice side, because it's like, look, it's not, it's do you have the right to decide for someone else what they can do? And no, you can't, because if you are conservative and you are truly a conservative, you don't want the government in your doctor's office telling you what you can and can't do. That's between you and your doctor. And they're like, yeah, okay, I get that. So yeah, I mean, that's what the entire, and that's what I told my son too, with when I found out he was pregnant with my grandson, and he was like, yeah, but you're pro-choice. I was like, yeah, choice is the key word there. It is your choice. It's yours,
nobody's
not mine.
Nobody wants there to be more abortions than there need to be. We want what everyone sane wants is that when there has to be an abortion, that it be as safe as possible. Because abortions are going to happen regardless. We have to understand that. We can have them be safe and done in medical environments by actual doctors, or we could go back to what we were doing before that with coat hangers in back rooms or newborns being tossed into garbage bins.
Yeah.
What do you want? You get one or the other. You don't get a choice. You only get to pick between the two. Nobody, it's such a fucking wildly dishonest piece of bullshit. It's that bullshit principle, right? That people are running around. I mean, yes, some people do it as a meme. Like I myself used to run around saying I kind of want to get pregnant just so I can have an abortion to fuck over the kids, to piss off conservatives. Turns out I can't actually, but never mind that. Nobody wants to run around bathing in the blood of the unborn, except, coincidentally, the fundamentalist Christians who think bashing the babies on the rocks is a wonderful pastime or something.
Yeah.
What was it? Ezekiel or Jose? I forget.
Hosea.
Dave posted it earlier, but whatever the fuck it is. It was in the previous show.
Fucking wild. I mean, it's absolutely wild. They're like, oh yeah, this shit's all fine, but you can't do what you need to do to save your life so you don't leave your kids as orphans. Like, what, dude? No.
Well, it's all hypocrisy, and that kind of goes to the pseudoscience. Because, like, okay, we use the term hypocrisy pretty loosely to mean something like "do as I say, not as I do." Like a person saying a president shouldn't go on vacation 10 days out of every 11 and go play golf at millions of dollars of taxpayer expense. But then when he himself becomes president, he goes on vacation to play golf 11 days out of every 12. You know, it's that's do as I say, not as I do. That's not quite the level of what we mean by hypocrisy. We mean when a person prevaricates to certain moral values and priorities, but their own behavior shows they don't actually hold those values themselves, or at least they don't hold themselves accountable to the same standard. So basically it's lying with extra steps. It's although the person may not believe they're lying, they're just not seeing the double standard they've set up for themselves versus everyone else. But it's still intentionally telling an untruth with the point of misdirecting people, which I would call lying. I don't know. I'm a silly being. So that's the kind of hypocrisy here. And we see it all the fucking time from, well, let's call a spade, Christian apologists, right? Like Islamic apologists will just straight up tell you, yeah, killing babies is sometimes a good thing because God said so. Like they will own their moral horrors. But the Christian apologists want everything to come off as sunshine and rainbows. And so they will tell you, no, it's always morally wrong unless God says so. Terms and conditions apply. You know? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Sinister Porpoise is here. Sends a super chat for $2. Thank you, Sinister. And says there's coffee in that nebula. I kind of want to go to space even more now.
I know. I wanted to like I've got this really cool like big coffee table style book that has like all these pictures from space, and now I want to go get it and just look through it now because it's so cool.
My favorite. I wish I had room. One of my favorite things ever in my life is this big fucking book, like the size of you know what? You guys we're going for a little trip. Come here.
Woo-hoo.
This is my makeup table. And this book is bigger than my makeup table. It is a big fucking tome, right? And every page is a full page, full color, high resolution photo from the Hubble Space Telescope and like footnotes in the corners explaining what we're looking at and how cool it is and so forth. And I flip through it and it gives me such peace. The globular clusters and the distant stars and the vast nebulas and the far off galaxies, especially the globular clusters though, like seeing so many stars so tightly packed, it just, it fills me with a sense of wonder that overwhelms the bullshit of the political world. And it's one of my favorite things, but I have no room for it here. I literally cannot fit a book that big in my room, but I've always wanted a book that big ever since I was little. I used to watch a cartoon show called Gummy Bears on the Disney Channel, I believe. And there was a wizard character named Zummy who had a kind of aphasia that sometimes manifests in certain neurodivergent people, such as myself, but that's not important. He had a big fucking spell book, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And when I came across this book of space, I love space, I love the stars, I love giant books, and it just, the whole thing came together, and it's so wonderful. But I don't have room for it here, alas. I have tangented like a motherfucker, haven't I?
Hey, they've been great though. We're here for the tangents.
I know, like what are we doing, Ember? Oh my goodness. So, okay. Since we're tangenting, let's fucking tangent. Yesterday, after I got off the air, Maya and I chatted for a while. Very nice. We finished our chat. I had to go to the next town over because I had to go pay a bill that has to be paid in person. And it's been snowing very, very heavily where I live. And so I had to go in this 1 hour break in the weather, right? The roads were shit, but it's like whiteout blizzard, and it has been for days. And after that break, whiteout blizzard, and it will be for several more days. So I had to go right then. So I brushed off the car. I boom, off we go, right? And so I get to this place. Of course, it's New Year's Day, so no one is there. I have to drop the payment in the drop slot, which means I probably could have come back tomorrow. But again, white out immediately after the break in the weather. So it had to be today. The driveway is not plowed. All the plow shit from the road is in the edge of the driveway, but it's only a few feet. So being a fucking certified super genius, I'm like, I can momentum through that. I could not momentum through that.
No.
I got my ass. I got like 18 inches in and got stuck. Oh. I did get myself unstuck. I did. I'm still a good enough driver. I got myself unstuck. So I parked on the side of the road. I got out of the car. I'm like, okay, I'll just physically walk up to the office. But there's a gate. There's a security gate with like a code panel where you punch in the code and whatever. But it's only on one side. So I can punch in the code and the gate will open. But if the gate closes while I'm on the other side, there's a sensor that'll open the gate, but it's a weight sensor. It's geared towards a car driving over it. I've lost weight. I'm not heavy enough to set off that sensor. So what do? Well, of course, the most insane possible thing to do. I punch in the code, and as the gate starts to open, I fucking book it for the office to get to the drop slot. I get there. I drop the payment in. I turn around. The gate is already closing. So I fucking Indiana Jones that shit. I grab my hat, and I fucking fly, and I scoot right before the gate closes.
Nice.
And I get myself locked in. So I made it. I did it. I accomplished my mission, but I did it in the stupidest way possible. And I'm like, Ember, what the fuck is wrong with you?
To be fair, I find myself in those situations too, more than I would like to admit. Because it's like, I'm doing something, I'm like, why did I do it this way? This other way would have been so much easier. But I did it this way instead.
I could have just mailed it in. I could have put it in the mail a few days ago. They weren't even in the office. I could have just mailed it. No.
See, this is... it cracks me up because my son has a theory about this. He says that people are so smart about so many things at times that sometimes the simple stuff we have to be dumb about. I'm like, yeah, that could possibly be the case. Because he does the same thing. He'll be trying to do something and just take the most ridiculous way to do it. And I'm like, I can just send you the money. And he's like, oh, okay. So yeah, my son's like that too. It cracks me up though. Because I do it all the time too.
It's a combination of factors. I can come up with partial explanations that collectively come together to explain erratic behavior, even behavior that I'm aware is very stupid in the moment. As many of you know, I didn't get much sleep the last several days. Yesterday especially, I was very sick at the start of the show. Like we started a few minutes late because I was having medical stuff going on, and I took medicine. We did the show fine, but like, I was in bad shape with no sleep and under the influence of a lot of fucking medicine. I was not making good choices, you know? It's like good choices, not even in the building kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, like, I was talking to my mother this morning, and she's like, well, have you taken any of the cold and flu meds? I'm like, Mom, none of them's working. She's like, well, there's more you can take. I'm like, I'm not going to keep taking the same thing when it's not working. Like, I'm feeling better on my own at this point. And, I love her to pieces, but she doesn't listen very well.
It's wild. It's wild. Sinister says, are these tangents you get when you divide the sin of something by the cost of something? Yes.
Yes.
It's we still don't We don't have any definition from the theists on what the fuck a sin is, but if we take mathematical sin, which is of course the only sin we can actually prove exists, and we factor in the cosin, sin and cosin create tangents.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. Mm-hmm.
So which one would I be?
Well, I mean, okay, so if I'm the sin, then you would be the cosin. I like this model. I like
Yeah,
and
that works.
with both of us, it just spawns tangents. Like
it works.
Although according to the Christians, this is the sin.
Yeah, so
no,
it's
not
like
the
this.
flag, you silly people. The microphone under it. A woman is talking. That's sinful.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong.
Oh my god, talking
what have I done?
about the sinful stuff and Christians getting pissy. This happened to me about a week or so ago. So I went to the store that I really don't like, that starts with a W, but I had to get some dog food and stuff. And I'm wearing a tank top because it's nice and warm here. I literally had some little lady come to me, starting bitching about my chest tat. She's like, Christians shouldn't have crosses, because I've got a cross right here, which, like I said, this tat's like 20 years old. This was, I got the cross when I was kind of at my last grasp of kind of trying to hang on to it. And I have left it because it is part of my story. It's part of who I am. Like, I was Christian when I was younger. I am no longer, which is why I like the double-headed bat. But dude, she went off on me in the middle of the store, and like 5 people were like, what the hell is wrong with this lady? I'm like,
fundamentalism, you know? Like,
yeah,
I mean, like him, according to Leviticus, any tattoo is automatic entry to hell. So if I'm going to hell anyway,
quoted.
why not go big?
Yeah, I got that quoted to me. And I'm just like, I was like, holy crap. And she's like, you're never going to be able to find a job. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? No, you don't. So it was just like, oh my God. Like,
it's not 1946. You can
exactly,
get a job with tattoos now. No one who's a grown-up fucking cares.
Yeah, like I was right. My generation, because like I said, I just turned 41. My generation was right at the beginning of where tattoos started not to matter. Like a lot of retail jobs when I was in my early 20s decided they didn't give a crap about tattoos. They were fine. And then it's more and more to where pretty much now you can have almost any job. The only one that I know for a fact, at least where my friend works, she happens to be a funeral director. She can't have her tattoo showing there, but it's a funeral director thing. So she's like, I'm always wearing suits anyway. But nobody cares. Like, nobody gives a damn anymore. As long as they're not offensive, whatever.
And even then, you know, I mean, there's people running around with fucking Nazi tattoos. It's oh well. C'est la vie. Alrighty, folks. We are getting close to the end here. We do have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to point out my unfinished sock dropped by. Thank you, sock of unfinishedness, who says, don't be blinded by emotional defensiveness. Like and share the stream instead. And that's good advice for everyone. In fact, while you're down there, why not click all the buttons? Why not click the like and subscribe, especially if you're new here, if you're watching in the future. Hello, future people. There's a live chat. We'd love to see you in the live chat. So make sure you hit the subscribe and come join us in the live chat. And live. And like talk to us, say things like my unfinished sock did. But also share button, so important. The algorithm does not show these shows to other people. So if you would like to help, it's a totally free way that helps ever so much. But if you want to contribute something, I very much appreciate that. You've seen people sending super chats like Sinister Porpoise, which started us on the most recent weird set of tangents. But also there's memberships, there's super thanks if you're watching in the future. There's a bunch of things, but there's other options. There's a Ko-Fi, Cash App, Venmo, Patreon, which is like membership, but YouTube takes less money because it's not through YouTube. For instance, All these things, they help. They help a lot
Mhm.
because this is my job now
Mhm.
for various reasons relating to this flag that I'm not going to get into right now. But TLDR, I appreciate Eddie's support. It helps me keep going. It helps me keep doing things. It helps me, let's be honest, it helps me continue to not die. Affording food is very useful for continuing to not die. So it does help. It's very much appreciated. But if like me, you're very poor, there are free options. And the share button is a great one. So, thanks in advance for clicking around and doing the things. It does help more than you might think.
And we love you. We want you around.
Yeah.
Dude, this show's the highlight of my day. Of course I want to be here.
Oh goodness. I mean, I try. Jester says actually it's a coffee nebula.
Cool, Fefe.
Oh my!
I used to have a
Anyway.
shirt that said Covfefe on it, and I can't find it, and I'm really mad that I can't find it now. I've been looking for it for like a year, and I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, and Jedi says pics of a coffee nebula in Discord. I keep Discord mostly closed during the show, but let me see which Discord though. There's so many Discords.
Yours.
That's where I'm looking, but there's no new posts in there.
Oh, no. Did he post it in mine, perhaps? No? I don't know where he posted it.
I don't know. It's a mystery. Maybe we'll find out later. It'll be a thing.
We love you too, Kelly. We miss you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. And speaking of seeing you, the other thing I wanted to get to today, which we are definitely not going to have time to do. I warned you we weren't going to finish the other one. Hold on. I need to switch to bring the thing back. Pseudo profound bullshit. This is one of the mechanisms that trips people's brains. It's like to briefly summarize for completeness for this episode, but we will get into it in a future episode and explore the pseudo profound bullshit. But one example is the Deepak Chopra kind of deepities. The universe only exists for you because you observe it kind of thing. Like, it sounds profound, but it isn't actually. It's completely vacuous, and it is total bullshit. Now, this is an actual academic study because we needed to, in a scholarly fashion, disambiguate from regular bullshit. It's a whole thing. And so it's fascinating. Oh, goodness.
Well,
Jedi.
let's see it part 3.
I mean, well, it's everything we do here is ongoing because it crosses over, it weaves together. We're always building on new stuff, which is another reason to join us when you can. I try to do every episode as a standalone, but it draws on concepts from previous episodes. So, it's a thing. Anyway, Jedi says Transposition's newsroom. Unfortunately, I'm no longer in the Transposition server because of the aforementioned drama, the thing with the threats and the need to postpone shows and whatnot, because there were a couple of people who were vocally on team calling for Ember's death, who were being very loud in there, and I had to leave. And while some of them have been kicked out, at least one of them cannot be kicked out. So I'm no longer in that server, which is one of the things that was making me upset, because that's a big, this is a big issue with how this all has been handled, because it's cost a lot of people a sense of community. That's why I've been getting so weepy when I see you guys are here spending time with me and shit, because I'm dealing with grief of loss of vast swaths of the community. Like, I know there are people who are in the Transposition server who are also here, who have overlap with both groups and whatnot. But there's other people that I only had contact with over there, and now I can't reach them. They're cut off from me because of the actions of hostile people, and that really sucks. And that's just one aspect of this, you know? It's an oof.
Go to the website. Join Ember's Discord.
I had to take the Discord link off of the website to prevent the hostiles from getting into my Discord server. It's
Jedi, if you're in my Discord, you can post them there. Ember's in there. So you might be in mine.
That's true. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I can find you or you find me or something, but I can, if a person is a known person, I can send links to my own Discord, but I need a way to directly communicate, kind of thing. Because while I had it up on the website to keep bots from joining, like was happening when we were listing it through the description, now it's sort of an invite only sort of thing. Like if it's a person I know and is definitely not hostile, and wants to be in my server, I'll open it up eventually someday, but for however long this nonsense is going on, it needs to be just people who aren't going to try to hurt me, you know? And it's fucked up that I have to say that.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just, it's absurd. It's so absurd. I mean, this shit shouldn't even be happening, but
yeah.
Okay.
Aunt Jir has forwarded me Jedi's images, and they're pretty cool. So I'm popping them up in Windows so that I can share them, so that I can show y'all. It's such a roundabout thing, but we're gonna get it done. We're problem solvers in this community. All right, this is the first one.
Ooh,
Coffee Nebula.
I like that one.
I fucking love it. I love that so much. And then this one, it's a nebula made of coffee, you see. And
that's so
I don't
pretty.
know if these are supposed to be sugar cube planets here and damn it, why is it not moving? And here, this one especially, sugar cube worlds or something, but
look how
I'm
marshmallows.
amused. They could be
hot
marshmallows,
chocolate.
yeah. Of course, a marshmallow is a sugar cube, really. But yeah, it's pretty neat. Somewhat related note: if you like this kind of image, follow Left-Handed Jedi on Blue Sky, probably other socials, but Blue Sky's where I did many images, very cool stuff. If you're interested, if you do the Blue Sky thing, find Jedi over there. So yeah. All right, so that tangents upon tangents, random stuff. There's Dade. Hello, Dade. We were just referencing your Bible verse earlier about dashing babies and things. Baby dashing. Yes, we're all over the damn place today. But alas, we are at time for today. In fact, we're slightly over, but that's okay. It's all good. So
it happens.
I haven't actually put up the shows for next week yet, so I don't know which order they're going to be in, but we do have shows for next week. Now, first of all, Saturday, debate review with Mark Reed. He's coming over here. We're going to finish off William Lane Craig proving God is evil. I mean, William Lane Craig debating Peter Milligan about whether God actually exists. Craig just keeps doing it by making syllogisms showing God is evil, but never mind. Next week, Hot Topic. Every weekday, 11 a.m. Eastern, we've got, I'm in the wrong window. And again, the order will probably change, but the topics, there it is. The topics are going to include consciousness, the divided mind, this model of what the fuck did we call it? The family hypothesis something. We're going to talk about the way minds function as if they're multiple people acting in council, even though we perceive our own awareness as being a single individual. It's fucking fascinating. At least it is to me. So that's one of our topics. We're hoping to also do. Jesus Christ, Ember. We're hoping to also do a thing about DID. What is it? How does it work? How does it happen? Because a lot of people have no fucking idea what it means, let alone how to interact with a person who is also a system, you know? So we want to explore that. That may be next week. It may be, we'll see, but it's a possibility. But it will come after the Divided Mind episode because we need to understand the internal family system in order to fully understand the model for how DID works. I hope that makes sense. It's the building blocks thing. We need the base layer before we get to the advanced shit. Okay. Also brain stuff. Your brain on bugs. Did you know your brain depends on bugs? There's certain bugs that live in your head. I'm not talking about RFK's brainworms. I'm talking about your internal natural microbiome. Just like your guts require a microbiome to work properly, your brain does too. And we're going to get into that mess of gray matter and slime and shit next week too. We're also probably going to talk about the millennial extinction. That sounds fun, doesn't it? But it's true. Yeah. Millennials are dying really fast, and it's kind of scary. So we're going to get into that. And also ancient history, building off of yesterday's ancient matriarch episode, because I got so carried away with the art. Let's learn about ancient art. And then also, I realize this is more than 5 topics. So some of this is definitely going to go into the week after. Not fully scheduled, just to give you the rundown of what's on the agenda. The art of reverse misogyny. I'm just going to leave that one there and let you think about it. How time shapes history, that we talked about a little bit. No, the ancient Minoans were 2 days ago. Yesterday was the history of time.
Yep.
So the upcoming topic building on that is how time shapes history, which should be neat. And of course, as I just discussed, pseudo profound bullshit. We're going to dig into the pseudo profound bullshit. The profound bullshit can wait for another day. So I hope you join us. I hope you subscribe. I hope you enjoy our wonderful community and things and stuff. And there's a lot to say, as always. And I've been very overwhelmed the last several weeks because of all the bullshit. I do have a forthcoming project that will fix a lot of it. It won't make any of the people behaving badly suddenly start behaving less badly, but it will turn this negative series of things into a net good. And that's sort of the thing that I've been underneath everything. I've been pitching my entire career on YouTube as a public speaker, going all the way back to when I started acting as a de facto counselor to other school kids. You can take something that's broken and not only repair it, but make it stronger than it was before. Mm-hmm. We're going to do that. And I hope you stick around for it. Until then, as always, remember, you don't have to believe in either pseudoscience, pseudo-profound bullshit, or conspiracy theories, because you are better than religion. Toodles. Thanks to all our patrons and top-level members for December. Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Maya Adkison, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Lilith, Ember Lynn, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, Lil of All Trades, Deviant Outcast, Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen, The Mighty Filbert, Secular Feelinist, and Geo Sam. And you can add your name here next month by signing up at patreon.com/betterthanember, or by joining Emberships here on YouTube at the Cinder level, which includes all the custom emojis, tons of member-exclusive content, member-only live streams, and a bunch of other stuff. I deeply appreciate all the supporters who keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Because of you, we're building a wonderful community that I'm very proud of.
Just just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't